Hey, good morning, good afternoon, all of you. Mark again here, WeatherMan Plus. Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope you have a very happy and a very blessed Sunday today. Now, I have all the information you need as far as updates on what's going on in the southeast, right off into the Atlantic, as well as what's happened to all these waves that we've been looking at and where have they been and what are they doing. Now, if you've never been here before, hello. My name is Mark. I do upload every single day, just not Friday from sundown to Saturday from sundown. That's when I take my Sabbath. But make sure you hit that subscribe button because I am all year around. Now, the two videos I have for y'all today, on the very top is a Euro. This is P water anomaly, your precipitable water. And you can see that the system's coming off from the southeast, hitting to the southeast. And it's not bringing much but a little bit of rain. It's not going to do anything, guys. It is going to twirl around for a while. It's upper level low. That cold front is actually going to be doing a lot. It is going to do a lot of protection because it is, in a sense, a high pressure. And it is going to move a lot of waves away. At the same time, it is going to bring some rain to the deep south. Now, the one right above my head is the GFS, and I have it zoomed in a little bit more on the Caribbean so you can see all this heavy rain flow that will travel through Central America and make it to the Bay of Campeche. As a matter of fact, I'm showing for Jamaica that you're not really going to be getting a lot of rainfall. I know people made videos showing a big, strong vorticity going by your island, and I know you don't have much information there. Y'all all on the island, and you're reaching out for as much as you can get. I'm showing you're going to be okay. But this train of heavy precipitation, according to the GFS, could be going on for some time, where there won't be any formation of storms, which is a good thing, but we could be getting a lot of heavy rainfall over and over and over. Now, this is your velocity potential anomaly. This lets you know when you have any updrafts, some convection going on in our country, and we always look from west coast at 120W to east coast at 60W, and from then on is your MDR, your main development region, all the way to the coast off of Africa. And you can see we have our systems in the MDR now, but as we go through our days, it weakens greatly and just travels along. And then when it gets to about July 6th, this is where the energy transfers over and it actually tries to do something somewhere in western Bay of Campeche, northern Mexico, maybe even a lot of precipitation going towards southern Texas and going north. But as you can see, from July 3rd to July 5th, there's not a lot going on, guys. There's going to be some precipitation, there's going to be some storms passing through, but I'm not showing high velocity potential. Matter of fact, when you look through the cyclone locations for the next 16 days, this one's from the GFS, you can see that there is some systems passing through the country, and there is a little weak system passing through the Caribbean, but it's not making it that far. Also, when it pops back up on western Caribbean, right above Central America, that it will intensify over towards the Yucatan and then get into the Bay of Campeche and be very weak and not do much. Maybe ride up a little bit later on the west side of Texas, but it's not showing a whole bunch. And when you look at all the 31 members from the GFS, you can see that Invest 95L does intensify a little bit more, but it really gets weak towards all that shear, that dry air, the cool waters that is going to be going through, and it does take that northern push and just go out into the Atlantic very weak, if anything. But one of the members show that it will take that southern track and it will stay a little strong. And matter of fact, I'll show you in a minute that it does actually intensify to something that might go towards southern Texas still. And matter of fact, this is showing that 950 millibar we've been watching for a long time now, going towards southern Texas, and I'm still showing that that's still trending. And when you look at the National Hurricane Center spaghetti model, you can see that within 3 days, 72 hours, the system's going to be somewhere right here, right off the coast of the islands. And whether it goes straight or whether it goes north, and most of the models show that in 4 days, it will be taking that northern track, and in 5 days, be over Puerto Rico or a little past Puerto Rico. And I do have your rainfall amounts, Puerto Rico. At the same time, it will curve around and head this way. That's just one ensemble showing it going towards the Caribbean. That's the HMON, which is a good model. The H-Wharf is a little more dependable in my opinion. And the CMC model shows that it will go towards the Caribbean, but a little bit more northern. But that's all in 3 days. So we'll see what happens in 3 days, because this troposphere does move around quick. As you know about this upper level low that's moving in Atlantic, I do have your information on that. I'm showing there's nothing to worry about that. But these upper level lows moving around does transfer all these rivers around, so anything can change in 3 days. And according to the precious Euro model, it is showing that in the next 10 days that not only will most of these waves go towards the Caribbean and weaken greatly, of course, but it shows a couple of chances of intensification from that next wave that's coming that it will intensify into something into the Caribbean. Matter of fact, it gets it down to a 960 to a 979 millibar pressure as it goes towards the Yucatan. But as you can see, shear hits it, weakens it greatly, pushes it more west, just like what we already dealt with. And it looks like it is going to try and ride up Texas. So that part is still showing Texas. And it does look like a little bit of intensification when it's on land. That's according to the Euro. And if you see this turn right here, and also this turn, that's because we have our cool front come down. The Arctic blast is not bringing Arctic temperatures, mostly 50s and 60s for the Ohio Valley and a little bit more southern and the northeast. But when that cold front comes down, it will smack these systems and it will make them turn, because this is going to be a big high pressure with cold air in it. Now when this turns, it looks like it could intensify right before Florida and go off to the southeast. That's still debatable. But as you can see, all the models right off to the southeast, they're all gray, guys. This is very weak. It's just going to be upper level low. I've noticed it for a while. It was a big pocket of cool air at 850 millibars, but it wasn't doing anything. It did turn into a good strong upper level low, but it's getting messed up by dry air, some dust. I will go through what I have. And a lot of this energy is still getting pushed west in the Bay of Campeche into northern Mexico, somewhere around Monterey. And it shows some possible intensifications on these. And when this one turns, it could still intensify when that cold blast comes down. So I will show you. Now, according to the Euro on the AO, the Arctic Oscillation lets us know how far down this cold air does come down from the north. And you can see that we had our cold spill that we just had, and we're going to get another one come all the way down from the 30th and go back up sometime around the 5th. Now, it does show a little something a little bit later, but it's not really a whole bunch of accuracy going on here. Euro is not a long-range model. Their EPS model is a little bit longer range, but the GFS shows you a little bit more detail. You see what we just had was actually, it came in two bumps. It came one on the northwest, and then we had ours that came to the southeast. But it's showing that somewhere around the 30th all the way to the 3rd, we will get our first dip of cold air, and then it's going to come back down for another, like a heartbeat, a pulse of cold air that's going to come down sometime around the 4th all the way to around the 7th or 8th, and we could get another one sometime around the 10th to the 12th. So this is just a steady dip that's still coming. So far it's still the same as of 2 a.m. this morning. The update will be out again around 8. This is at 20% for the disturbance off the southeast. I actually expect this to go down a little bit, especially with the dry air going into it. I guarantee you by the time I post this video, this update would be out. And this is probably going to be around 10%. That's what I'm thinking. And the Disturbance 1, the 95L, this is when it's still at 30% chance, and it's still showing that northern track through the Caribbean. So that southern track really isn't showing too much. That could be that next wave that's coming off. That could go south. And your Hurricane Enrique right off the west coast of Mexico. I'm showing that you won't have no hurricane winds because it will die down before then. The only thing that you will be getting, not even 50 knot winds, you'll be getting tropical storm winds, which is anywhere from 39 miles per hour winds all the way to 73, but most likely going to be around 39, 40 miles per hour winds. And you can see the color chart that the little bit of orange right there is about 50 to 60% chance for 39 miles per hour winds. So it's just going to be a little windy right off the coast, and it is going to die down and get even weaker before it goes anywhere towards landfall. Now, NOAA is showing that it's just going to be a regular hurricane. I'm showing it actually has a good chance to be a Cat 2 hurricane. But by 7 a.m. on Tuesday, it will be right back down to tropical storm strength, and it will be passing over land as a tropical depression. So you should be getting tropical storm force winds just off the coast here, and that's about it. And it's not going to be really strong winds. And then at the end of the run, it'll be all the way till Monday at 8 a.m. when it'll be a tropical depression over landfall over here. And this is Enrique. It's looking very healthy, just swirling on around, doing his thing. You can even see a little purple in there as it's trying to get some intensification going. But it's got storms all the way around the center. It is looking good. But it is spraying a lot of rainfall that's going off into Mexico. So you will have some winds and some rain as well. And the model intensity guidance shows that it could get up to a Cat 2 hurricane. It is expected in most of the model guidance, whether it's sooner or later, but it's definitely from 12 to 24 hours from now. But after that, it's going to be weakening very greatly, and you can see that when it gets towards landfall in 5 days, that it's going to be a tropical depression. Plus, we have our Invest 95L, and this thing is very broad, guys. It was very weak. It don't have a center of location. It's trying to get one, but most of its problem is the temperatures. The water is still around 78 degrees where it's at. It needs to be at 80 to maintain strength. Now the GFS track, most of it takes it somewhere 5 days still towards Puerto Rico, maybe right over Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, I do have your rainfall amounts of what that possibility can be. And it does show more than likely it's going to curve. And that's especially when that cold front comes down, it is going to play a factor. But there's a couple ensembles that show it could get into the Caribbean. And it's not a big threat for Jamaica. I have your rainfall as well. But as you can see, it'll just carry that moisture over. Now that's the HMON that's showing in 72 hours. It'll be headed towards the Caribbean. The UKXI is showing that it actually will make it to the Caribbean and start taking a northern push. And the intensity guidance is pretty much 50-50 on Invest 95L. The HMON and the models that show that the HWRF that it could go through the Caribbean, it will stay very weak of a system. Of course, it's getting wind shear and it's getting some dry air from the dust. But the models that's showing it's going to head north actually shows it could get up to a tropical storm strength. And you can see how broad and how big this system has become. It's really widened out, and that's one thing that's hurting it other than the temperatures. It's just too broad. But it is blowing up on all cylinders, and this thing is really trying to do something. So whether it tightens up and protects itself to where it can make it through the dry air, through the wind shear, and stay strong, that's another question. But if it stays this broad, it definitely will get tore up. And you can see it good here on infrared, just how broad, how big and wide this whole system is. It is very huge. I think it's actually going to break off and try and consolidate up here because wind shear is just tearing these apart. And the more north that this heads, the more cooler waters is going into. And we're just steady flowing off the coast of Africa of storms coming off. So it's about time to start waking up, paying attention. The only thing that's stopping this from being real severe right now is that it is too early in the season and the temperatures hasn't come up yet. It is close. Matter of fact, right where it's passing by, it is right around 78 degrees. And it needs to be lower. It needs to be in the 80s where it's a little lower. But if you go a little more northern, bam, it goes from 80 to 78. It's a big jump. Plus coming off the coast is 73, so it's very cool on the north. It has to be a southern push. It has to be all this deep orange that you see here. Anything that takes a northern push will reach colder waters for a while. This is 79 degrees in all this region. Plus our upper level low that's passing by into Atlantic. You can see it's still 79 degrees and a lot of this water is very edge for the 80s. Now when you look at the Euro ensemble and see what the possibilities is for these waves that come through, you can see as it goes through, it can make it all the way to the Caribbean. A couple does show it can turn. This right here is getting smacked by the cold air. But in 5 days, it could be right to the east of Jamaica. Now, Jamaica, this will bring you a couple inches of rainfall. I'm not showing anything big. I'm not showing any heavy winds or anything, as well as Puerto Rico. But as you go through, you can see where it starts to head, and it does get a chance to go into the Gulf of Mexico, and it could intensify according to a couple ensembles that it could get into the Gulf and we could have a problem. So we still got to keep updated on this. Anything can change in a few days. Like I said, upper level low, they live 3 to 10 days out. So if it's on the end of its cycle, things could be changing very quickly. Now this is our system that's in the southeast. This was that cool air pocket that was rolling around, and it did get on NOAA's radar of a possibility of something to worry about. But I think the energy is trying to transfer a little northern, because as you see the rotation here, we got an upper level low, and as you notice down here, we got the flow from the north to the south, and we got the flow from the south to the north here. So we do got an upper level low here as well. So this thing is getting messed up in between this, not to mention dry air is getting in it, guys. And here's a good look at it in real time. You can see all the storms trying to brew up, trying to get something going. You got an upper level low swirling over here, and you have a nice size upper level low swirling over here on the bottom of it. So it's kind of going to walk with it, and the whole time it's going to start weakening as it goes. I can see why it got on their radar, but I don't see that staying on the radar too long. And you can see right here, right below our system, that we get the winds going almost all the way around. The southwest to the southeast winds are not there to make a close low, but this upper level low does carry along with this system and walks it over. And that's going to stop it from doing any major formation. Matter of fact, it weakens as it gets towards land. You still got your upper level low walking with it, and this upper level low is going to get into the Gulf. And if you look at the 850 millibar to see how it's breathing up top, there's your relative humidity. You can see the dry air that's getting into our system right here. And as you move forward, you can see it stays all the way into it and it don't leave it. It stays surrounded by dry air the whole time. It's going to choke this thing out and keep it weak. It's just going to be some precipitation that is coming. And you can see it good here on the dust as far as with windy. Here's your system, your upper level low trying to form into something. And you can see all this dust that's going into the storm. And when I press play, you'll see how it stays around it the whole time as it moves forward. And it's really going to choke this system out. This system is not going to be able to do anything. But we still need to keep our eyes open because I'm showing all the way up to July 5th that we do have something going on in the Gulf. You can see that a lot of weak system possibilities does transfer over from the Caribbean over Central America. But you can see that one just grows up real quick and intensifies and goes straight for southern Texas, still showing somewhere around Corpus Christi. I've actually been showing that for a while. I'm just not finding it in the model guidance too much. At the same time, you can see instead of that spin, it could spin out towards the Yucatan, come back, intensify a little bit, and still head towards Louisiana, right towards Lake Charles still. And the possibilities for these waves to come back and intensify a little bit in just a few days shortly after July 4th. And as you follow them and you go forward, you can see that there is a chance for it to intensify, go over the Yucatan Peninsula, get into the Bay of Campeche, and just die out. And then when you get around July 8th, you show that a wave could pop up and start intensifying, as well as a wave could pop up and start intensifying right here in the Bay of Campeche. And as it gets closer, that one intensifies, goes towards Mexico, and the one that formed right south of Jamaica, somewhere around the 9th, it starts headed towards the Gulf of Mexico, and it does intensify a little bit, but still the target seems to be Texas. And the one that heads towards Louisiana actually could just stay strong the whole time it's on land. So let's go look at the perturbed members and see what the possibilities are now. And if you look right here on number 2, by July 1st, we could get a weak system that'll get into our Gulf and then intensify right before landfall for Louisiana. And that'd be right around July 5th and 6th if that does still happen. If you look right here on 27, you can see it could form up by the Bay of Campeche, and that can form up and get intensified and head straight for Corpus Christi, somewhere around southern Texas. And I have 2 that is showing almost the same thing. If you look right here on 7, you see it could start all the way from the 5th and 6th for those next waves to come through and then go over to Yucatan and head straight for Mexico and die out. And number 14 shows that it'll be weaker until it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. Then it could just intensify and head straight for Mexico. That is trending a little bit. As well as if you look at number 28, we still have that possibility for a very quick wave coming. Probably the next one just pass all these up, just come out super fast. But this is all the way to the 9th, showing it would take a while to get through the Caribbean. And it's still going towards the Gulf of Mexico and still going towards Texas. So I'm still showing that. So when you look for the chance for tropical depression, you can see that right here, the little upper level of the system that's in Noah's eyes right now, it has about a 30 to 35% within the next 3 days to become a tropical depression. That's pretty weak. But even weaker is these waves that we was looking at a couple days ago, just passing by the Central America, going towards the Bay of Campeche with some rainfall. And that next wave that is pushing north-northwest, Invest 95L, actually has a chance for 60 to 65% chance for becoming a tropical depression in 72 hours. It could move north towards Puerto Rico. It looks like it is going to be southern. But you can see as it gets into the Caribbean, it all weakens right below Dominican Republic, and none of it affects you, Jamaica. I noticed somebody had high vorticity coming right by your island, even had a clickbait title in there kind of fear-mongering Jamaica, and that's not cool. But I'm showing you it's just going to be a little bit of rainfall. Matter of fact, the information of just going to be some rainfall and it's not going to bother you has been there for days. But 5 days out, you can see where the energy goes as far as all the storms that's flowing through the Bay of Campeche and what happens with this group of thunderstorms. You can see as it moves through, it gets very weak, but they all head the same direction. pretty much towards the Gulf of Mexico as something very weak and just bring a lot of rainfall for all you fellas. If you look for tropical storm strength, you can see that when you get all the way to 5 days out, it starts strengthening up a little bit more. It weakens greatly, but it does strengthen up a little bit 5 to 6 days out to about 35 to 40% chance, maybe 45 tops, to becoming a tropical storm. But it does weaken very quickly, and it does not carry that energy over. They don't get nowhere near Jamaica with any tropical storm problems. Well, when you go all the way to July 4th and you look at the cyclone locations according to the Euro, you can see that the group of storms does go through the Caribbean. But if you see this 997, you'll see that it just has a chance to intensify as it goes towards the Western Caribbean to 958, going over to Yucatan, weakening greatly, of course, going over land. Now it's hitting the shears, getting to the Gulf of Mexico, and it could intensify again to a 952, and that's by the 9th. So we're showing 940 something, 950 something for over a week now for southern Texas. I actually still have that picture on my community tab on my channel that still shows about 6-7 days ago that we saw this 940 something, 948 I think it was, millibar system could be hitting. And when you look at the SpaghettiOs, you can see that by July 4th, here's your system here moving through the Caribbean. It is still weak, so Jamaica, I'm not showing any problems for you. Maybe a little bit of rain, not much. Definitely nothing to worry about as far as any winds. But you can see it intensifying right before the Yucatan. That's on the 6th. Comes over weak, and then intensifies again and heads right for northern Mexico, southern Texas. And it keeps going west. Now, if you look at the 500 millibar vorticity, that way you give in all these upper level lows, these surface low pressures, the best chance to look its worst. And you're on the very top layer, somewhere around 30-something thousand feet. You can see that we have our system right here in the Atlantic, and it will weaken greatly as it comes on shore. There ain't nothing special going to come out of that, just some rainfall. And you can also see that the wave that we're going to be dealing with, Invest 95L, and the next wave behind it, it will start traveling towards the Caribbean, and this one will go towards the Bahamas, and the second one will actually go right by Jamaica. Now, this is by July 4th, and the reason why I'm showing you this shot Jamaica, because this is the best look that you can get on this thing. If you go to 850 millibar level, a little bit further down, you'll see it even more messed up. And if you go to the ground level, you won't even find this thing. It's just going to be just a glob of rain. But I want you to see this. So if you see this again today, don't let people try and clickbait you. This is not on ground level, some strong hurricane. I know I've seen y'all comments. We get a hurricane. That's because of those videos, and I apologize for that. This is not going to be no hurricane. This is at the 500 millibar level that they are showing to you, and it's not any threat. Then as it passes right by you, it weakens very greatly and dies out. Now this is GFS, same thing, 500 millibar vorticity, and you can see our system right over here, and it shows even weaker and disorganized as it comes on land, just has some rainfall. And our Invest 95L, right around 3-4 days, it's going to be right over the islands towards Puerto Rico, and according to GFS, it confirms like the Euro, it's going to head north, it's going to get pulled away and get shredded. At the same time, you have the next wave, Jamaica, that's coming by. I'm even showing two energies, but one of them really dies out. But this one, you can see that according to the GFS, it's going to be a little more southern, and it breaks up very fast. Matter of fact, it don't get no intensification until after it passes by you, going towards the Bay of Campeche, but it will weaken over to Yucatan again, get into the Bay of Campeche, and try and strengthen back up. So I'm not showing that that's going to do anything. Maybe the Yucatan needs to watch out, maybe some Cancun. I will update you, Belize, on that. Just need to get a few more days closer, because the other models are showing that this thing's going to be a little more northern, that you're not even going to get that. So I will update you on that. But I'm not showing any threat, Jamaica. Please don't let them scare you. Matter of fact, when I look through your rain accumulation amounts, you can see that in the next 10 days, according to the Euro, that Jamaica will get a little over an inch. Puerto Rico will get a little over an inch. I'm not showing a whole bunch of rainfall for you guys. All the heavy rainfall will pass over Central America. And Belize, so far, it's only about an inch to an inch and a half in the next 10 days if anything does come your way. And that's according to the Euro. And the GFS shows the same thing, Jamaica. You're going to get only a little bit over an inch. Not going to be nothing to worry about. This is in the next 10 days. And all this is going to happen after 5 days. You're going to have a half an inch. And then from 5 days to 10 days, you're going to get another half an inch. There's nothing really to worry about. Puerto Rico, on the other hand, is showing that within 5 days, you're going to get almost 2 inches of rainfall as these waves pass over you. So you do got to be aware of that. It is heavier on the eastern side of almost 3 inches. And then from 5 to 10 days, you're going to get another inch of rainfall. So you got to watch out. But your 10-day outlook is heavier on the eastern side of the island. Now, with all this training going on, with all this storms that got stretched out, elongated, and tore up by shear, finally make it into the Gulf and start coming into our Gulf states. According to the GFS, the next 5 days, you could be getting 2 inches of rain all the way from Victoria, Texas. Houston, Texas could see 2.5. Beaumont, 2 inches. All the way to Lafayette, 2 inches. And New Orleans, 1.5 inches, with very light from Mississippi. 5 to 10 days out, then it could be getting heavier for you guys. You could get almost 5 inches in Houston, over 5 for Beaumont, over 5 for Lafayette. Also for Lake Charles in that area. You got to watch out. That's over 6 for you. And New Orleans could get over 4, but southern Mississippi, within 10 days, you can see another couple of inches. That's according to the GFS. And some of these waves could get into the Panhandle of Florida and bring y'all 4 or 5 inches in the next 10 days as well. But you can see on the southeast that in the next 5 days, when y'all have this upper level low passing by, it's not going to be a lot of rainfall. And the Euro is almost confirming the same thing for the next 5 days from Victoria, Houston, Beaumont, all the way to New Orleans, a little over an inch. But from 5 to 10 days, that is where those waves are going to start coming in and bring all these thunderstorms for you. So Victoria, you could see 6 inches. Houston, anywhere from 4 to 6 inches between Euro and GFS. Beaumont, over almost 4 inches. And Lake Charles, according to the Euro, you could see anywhere from 3 to 4 inches, a little over with the GFS. But all the heaviness is 3 to 4 inches along southern Louisiana. And when you get to Mississippi, that's where it's a little different. The Euro and the GFS are a little different. You do have the cold front coming down. It is going to bring a lot of rainfall with it. It does create storms with it. It might even do some front-induced surface low pressures that will zing around. But the heaviest will be somewhere around Biloxi, with everybody else getting 1.5 inches in the next 10 days. As a matter of fact, that disturbance is going to help out. If you see it here, you got your upper level low here. This is on the 30th, just a couple of days ahead, so we can see what's going to happen. And as upper level lows come in, they always create shear. That's what they do. And as this gets into the Gulf a little bit, it's going to create a lot of shear, so nothing can come towards northern Texas, southern Louisiana, Mississippi. Nothing can get into this Gulf at this point when this does this. It could make that turn towards Cuba, but at the same time, you can see how strong this shear gets. It just comes down into the Gulf of Mexico with the upper level low and puts a whole stream of strong shear, blocking anything from coming in all the way to July 3rd, July 4th. That goes the cold front. You can see the shear from the cold front coming down, and then it stays in the Gulf and just shears everything away. But once you get to the 6th, that's when the shear is going to go away a little bit, and these upper level lows could travel and get into the Gulf. So we got to update this. It is looking like you will be okay July 4th. Just some storms could pass by, but nothing serious. And when you look at your 500 millibar height, you can see this big pocket of cold air. On the 2nd, it will make its way into our country and start dipping down with some 50s and 60s for everybody. Then by the 3rd and the 4th, that's when it's going to have its deepest dip. Then it's going to start stretching out and going to the northeast and pulling away by the 5th. And then all the temperatures will start going back to normal. They'll get some more 60s and maybe some 50s as it's moving away, but that's about it. So that first dip that we saw, according to GFS, is going to stretch down to the Ohio Valley with some 50s by the 2nd. You will get some 50s also in the northwest, which I know you need. Actually, that high pressure is starting to move away now, so the only people that's going to start feeling the worst of the temperatures is going to start being Oregon, mostly Washington, and northern Idaho. And it's going to put the northeast in the 60s as well. It's going to be some nice overnight temperatures. Then as you go towards the 4th, Then that second dip comes down on that I showed you on the AO, and it gets all the way to Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Well, Mississippi and Alabama, northern parts will be in the high 60s, with 50s carrying over into the central U.S. all the way to the northeast. So this is about as far as the dip is going to be. And this is as cold as the temperatures are going to be. And northwest, you're going to be, some of y'all going to be in chances for 50s. And I know y'all need that very much, so you will enjoy that. But don't let nobody freak y'all out. It's not going to be no freezing temperatures, just as cold as it's going to be. Then that bump that we saw on the 9th actually is going to be in the northwest. You're actually going to knock you down to the 40s. So you are going to get the coldest temperatures on that second blast that's coming. But it will be in the northwest. It's not going to be anywhere else. Now you can see the latest update on Spaghetti-O models for Invest 95L. And most of them is showing that it will take that northern turn. A couple of them is showing that within 3 days it will be a little more southern. So we still got to wait in about 3 days to see what's going on. And Hurricane Enrique is forecasted to become a Category 2 hurricane. It could be 98 miles per hour winds with wind gusts up to 121 miles per hour. So we'll see if that actually happens, but it's still showing that before it gets to land, it will be a tropical depression. So this is an AM3K I'm going to show you so you can follow this upper level low as it's moving to the southeast. You can see what's going on, plus all these storms that we still have from Texas to Michigan. If you didn't see my video from the other day, my last video, I got a very important side message that is in that video. So go to the description and the links of that video and it'll say special message and click on the timestamp. You need to hear it, especially if you have kids. I'm going to play this for you though so you can see exactly everything that's going on. Thank you so much for visiting my channel today, guys. If y'all liked the information, please share it or at least hit the like button. Let YouTube share it for you. Thank you so much for your support. I do appreciate it. At the same time, let's listen to a word of our Father. Amen. Isaiah 35. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. In the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass and with reeds and rushes. And a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. Amen. That sounds like a road I want to be on. Hope you have a very blessed Sunday out there today. God bless every single one of you. All glory does go to Yahweh, God of Jacob. Amen. Thank the Lord. Hallelujah. God bless you all. Have a very, very great day.